Welcome everyone to my SH Figuarts Black Widow review from the first Avengers title in 2012. Of course, this month they have also released the Hawkeye figure, which means you can now get all the original 6 members from the first Avengers movie. So Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow and Hawkeye, and you can recreate that iconic New York battle scene. So if you're looking to start off your MCU SH Figuarts, I think this year may be the best time to do it. You can of course pick and choose all your favorite looks from the main characters throughout the movies, from the first Avengers all the way to Endgame. And I believe that the Black Widow figure is the 5th release for her. They have the Age of Ultron, Infinity War, Endgame, the Solo movie, and now the first Avengers. So we're going to start off with the packaging and then we'll move on to the figure itself. You can see that it's your standard Black Widow box, the smallest size, and I believe it's more or less the same accessories. And looking at the artwork, which to me is quite important if you use it as a backdrop or kind of just leave it in the background. For the Avengers title, they've actually used like a drawing this time, a artwork, instead of a real digital print of Scarlett Johansson. And they've done this for the first Avengers title, probably because it's more of a iconic movie now, and they're trying to change it up a little bit compared to the other boxes. And you can see it has the usual stickers, logos and titles, and then the side we have pictures as well, and then the back is also the figure in different poses. So let's open up the Black Widow figure. And inside we have the usual backgrounds and then the manual to show you how to put on the accessories. And here is the Black Widow figure inside its packaging. So here is the Black Widow figure, the first initial look outside of its packaging. And you can definitely tell this is from the 2012 movie, just based on the hairstyle and most of the details on the costume. It's still one of my favorite looks of Natasha Romanoff throughout the films. It's the most original, the most closest one to the comics. And that is why I was really excited when this figure was finally released. And you can kind of tell it is from that film if you know the hairstyle and the costume, as she did kind of change up her looks quite a lot throughout the films. First, looking at the outlook of the costume, she does have the shield logos on the arms, and then we have the red center on the belt as well. And then obviously the face sculpt, the hairstyle is the short one, and the face sculpt is pretty good. I'll be surprised if it wasn't, because this is the 5th Black Widow figure they released and the previous ones were quite accurate, so this one had to be pretty much spot on as well. And you can see the rest of the details. It's kind of your usual Black Widow figure with the holsters and guns, and then the wristbands. And then here's the look at the back. So in terms of the proportions, I do like it. And we're going to now compare it quickly with the previous Black Widow SH Figuarts. So the first release was the Age of Ultron, which the face sculpt wasn't the best, but in terms of the most original look, this was the figure at that time. And then we have Infinity War, which is a pretty iconic look as well. And then we have the Avengers Endgame. So now you have all 4 Avengers movies of Black Widow. And then we throw in the Solo movie as well. And they're also releasing the snowsuit version in December. So we'll have 6 Black Widow figures by then. But right now, there are 5 releases. And you can kind of pick and choose your favorites. If you're looking to maybe just get 1 or 2, you can obviously have a wide range of choice. And I'll probably do a video in the future on the full comparison of all the Black Widow figures, so stay tuned for that. And now I'm going to put the Black Widow figures away, and I'm going to mostly focus on this version. So this is the standard head sculpt that came out of the box, and I do like it. You can see it's kind of just the original expression. And this actually does include 2 other versions. We have another face sculpt This is a face swap. It's actually very similar to the original one, but you can kind of see a minor difference. And then we also have the second alternate face sculpt, which has a more serious face, and this is a whole head swap because of the hairstyle is different. It's more of a wavy type of style. So here is the alternate face on the original hairstyle, and you can see that there are slight changes to it. And then we have the alternate hair sculpt, which has a more serious face, and the hairstyle is different. It's kind of in a wind blowing style, and I'm pleased to say that all three face sculpts are interchangeable with both hairstyles. And now we can take a look at the accessories that come with the Black Widow figure. So just like the previous ones, first you can actually remove the two holsters on the side with the guns, and you can replace them with the ones with just the holster, because obviously when she's holding onto the guns, then the holsters won't have the gun on the side. So here is the first set of alternate hands, which we're familiar with for the Black Widow SH Figuarts, and that is the ones to hold on to the two guns. And now I've also swapped out the two holsters for the ones with the empty guns. The second set of alternate hands is the closed fists, and both of these are not fully closed. It does have a hole inside, and normally for Black Widow is to hold on to the batons, but for this figure it doesn't include any batons. But there is a possible way of actually using the ones from the previous figures, so I'll definitely test that out in the later videos. The next one is the relaxed palms, which can be used for running poses or when she's about to grab onto one of the guns. The fourth set of alternate hands is another open palms. This can be used for running poses, but the main purpose is obviously for that iconic landing pose, and this pair of hands has been featured in all the other previous Black Widow SH Figuarts. And the fifth set of alternate hands is shaped differently on both sides, and this is used when she's holding on to the accessory that's included, which is the Shitori weapon. So here is the accessory weapon that's included, the Shitori weapon, and I believe in the movie it was more of a silver color and then we had sort of lights at the front, but for this one they just painted it in a black color, but it's still a nice addition, so we're going to test it out with the Black Widow figure. And here is Black Widow with the weapon. So now let's test out the articulation, starting off with the head sculpt, so it can go side to side, no problem. And also 360 turn, and it can also go right and left and downwards quite a lot, and then upwards this much. And then for the arms, they're both the same on each side, so side to side no problem, and then forwards, upwards and backwards, full rotation, outwards, inwards, and you can kind of just go round and round. The arm is pretty smooth, and then there's elbows that bend backwards this much. There's a slight swivel on the lower half of the arm, but not too much. But obviously for the hand there's full rotation, and there's definitely hinges for outside and inside. And then for the body, the top half, there's a swivel round and round. I believe you can rotate it all the way around if you want, but there's not much need for that. It can tilt side to side. And then for the waist, there's also a smooth swivel, and it can also go left and right, and a body crunch this much, and then backwards this much as well. And then for the belt, you can see it's a little bit loose with the rest of the part, but it's kind of just the way it's built for the body and legs. But the belt isn't kind of movable on its own, kind of attached to the bottom half. So let's test out the legs. Kicks forwards, backwards like this, and then rotates round and round if you want, sideways. And then there's a knee bend, which is quite far back. You don't always get that for figures. And then there's no swivel on the lower half of the leg, but for the foot, there's full rotation, there's hinges, and then there's also a toe hinge. So pretty standard for Black Widow, but it is important to get the articulation right, as she will be in many different dynamic poses. So now let's take a look at Black Widow with some of the other fellow members of the Avengers for SH Figuarts. And I'm going to first start off actually with Nick Fury, the recruiter. And then I'm going to throw in Thor, which is a really nice figure, the original look as well. And then we have Iron Man, the Mark 6, the second version from this line. Obviously the New York battle scene was actually the Mark 7, which they actually released a few years ago, and I do have that. And you can see the color wave is the original one. They also released another version, but this one's probably more accurate to the film. And then for Hulk, I'm actually still missing. I didn't pick that up yet. And for Captain America, I didn't pick that one either because I have the Avengers Endgame Cap vs. Cap edition, and essentially it's the same look, but obviously you don't get the battle damaged costume or shield. So here's just a quick idea of Black Widow next to the other figures, and I will look to pick up the Hulk, and then obviously I do have Hawkeye, and then we'll have the original looks of all of them from that movie scene. So now for my overall thoughts of the Black Widow SH Figuarts for the Avengers Assemble title, and it's definitely a great addition to my collection, one of the most iconic and original looks, and it's kind of what I expected in the 5th Black Widow SH Figuarts. We get most of the poses with the different hands, the holsters, the guns, all we've been familiar with in the previous figures. So there are a total of 6 sets of hands, which is more than any of the previous Black Widow SH Figuarts. We also get a very good accurate face sculpt, which is free, interchangeable with 2 head sculpts. And again, this is more than any of the previous Black Widow SH Figuarts, although you could argue that 2 of the faces are quite similar. I would have maybe preferred one with a cut above the head like in the final battle, or a mouth open just for more expressions. The weapon is a bonus, although it could be a bit more detailed in the paint. But to me, this is one of the best Black Widow SH Figuarts and one of my favorites now, as they kept the standard pretty high. So my score would be a 9 out of 10, and I really like the lightness and the number of poses and the weapons. So it will be interesting to see some head swaps. I will do that in the future. In the meantime, you can comment down below on your thoughts of this figure, and also stay tuned to my Hawkeye review, as well as more MCU related content. Also like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.